Cheers.
Cheers.
Welcome to my humble abode.
So this is the special Sara from Selling Sara.
Yeah.
Specialty coffee.
Yeah. So basically, I pretend to run a coffee shop out of my apartment, but that's like all pretend. Like
Okay.
you're one of my first customers.
First customer. I'll give it a 5-star review on Yelp. I
Thank
think it's
you.
pretty good. I
Thank
got
you. I don't deliver. You have to come in person.
the pumpkin spice.
And I have the vanilla sweet cream. So
Limited edition, might add.
got every flavor that you could choose from a New York City apartment. It's pretty impressive.
So, Sara, why are we here? Why are we sitting down?
Well, I think we're starting a podcast.
I think we're starting a podcast.
Yeah. So maybe we should start with some intros.
Let's do it. I don't think anyone asked for this either.
No one asked for this.
Nobody
by the
asked
way.
for this. Also, if you're wondering why I'm holding this, it's because the mic died and we need to charge it, so we're making do.
There had to be some technical issues. It couldn't be all perfect, you know?
Couldn't be all perfect. So we're going to kick this off. This is the Career Collective. It's a podcast about...
Wow, that sounds cool.
It sounds cool. The podcast, what would you say the podcast is about?
I think the podcast, the Career Collective, is me and Vin have been talking for so long, just like how it's so great to be able to relate to people that are either in corporate or maybe they've taken the jump and left corporate, which we're slightly familiar with right now. And there's like a lot of hurdles. And I think also just our shared love for lifestyle, brands, you know, all this good stuff. There's no guidance, really, I feel like, when you're first starting out. And we think we just wanted to make this podcast to basically talk through our experiences and how other people can do what we did. But also, if you're still in corporate, like, great for you. Like, I think we enjoyed working in corporate. Like, so we're not like anti, you know?
Yeah, I think a lot of people, there's like a balance. There's a lot of people that want to be content creators. And there's also people that just like want to climb the corporate ladder. Both are fine options.
Yeah.
And then there's some people that want to have kind of the best of both worlds. Like you want to have that corporate job, but also create content on the side.
100%. So that is why we're here.
Welcome.
Welcome aboard the Career Collective.
First episode, I think, what's most fitting for the both of us is quitting or leaving your 9-to-5. When's the best time to do it? Why should you do it? And Sara just recently left
I did.
her 9-to-5.
I did.
And the people want to know, why did you leave?
It's a loaded question. It's a very loaded question because it's a huge risk. And like, I still feel like it's a huge risk, even though now I'm basically a month in. All of you guys that are probably watching this know I worked at Pareto. And if you asked me 5 months ago, I would say that I'm going to die at Pareto. Like, I love corporate. I love my 9-to-5. I love having structure. I loved what I was doing. That's most important. So if you're someone that's listening to this right now and you're like, actually, I don't feel all of those things for the current company I'm at, maybe it's not the one for you, because I truly think, especially in sales, you need to love what you do, because it's going to be that much easier to be able to sell your product or service when you love what you do and you're passionate about it. None of that was the issue for me, which made it that much harder to leave, because I kind of was just like, why am I leaving? I have a really good thing going. I did have a ton of outside people that I spoke to that were like, why haven't you done this yet? Like, you have so much potential. This is what you can be doing. And it was basically 12 months of me having a lot of conversations of just being like, can I gain the confidence to eventually leave? Because I kind of knew, like, you know, like, my passion is sales. I love teaching tips and tricks on how to be successful within sales, closing deals, social selling, cold calling. I was like, if I were to leave, that's what my business would be based around, because that's something that I'm passionate in doing, is like training other people to be just as successful as we were in corporate. It wasn't so much of like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I knew what I was going to do, but I loved what I was doing. Most importantly, I had to wait for the moment that I woke up in the morning and was like, you can do this, Sara. Like, this is the week that you're going to tell Pareto that you're leaving. And like, I had to come to that conclusion myself. Like, it didn't matter how many people told me, like, you can do this. Like, you have to wait until you're ready. Yeah. And there was a week in August I woke up and I was like, I am so at peace with leaving. Like, I have to give this a go because I would regret it otherwise, you know?
Yeah. I think, like, I want to ask you too, like, how did you know that was the moment? But I think maybe if there's any new listeners, which I doubt you're tuning into this if you don't know who either of one of us are, that'd be kind of odd, I think.
Yeah.
But what were you doing your 9-to-5? What were you doing prior?
Yep. So I worked for Pareto, which was a recruitment organization, and I worked on new business sales. So I pretty much was doing all the prospecting to new potential clients. So I was doing pretty much full sales cycle. So my own self, lead generation, all my own prospecting, reach out. Everything was pretty much outbound. We rarely had leads that came inbound until I actually turned to social media, because I was getting a lot of inbound leads that way within the last year, which was awesome. So it was definitely a bit of a creative way for me to close more deals. I was actually booking the meetings, attending the meetings, and closing the deals, and then I would hand it over to the delivery team. So it was like strictly new business sales, which is still like what I'm doing now for my own business, and so are you. So like that's what we were passionate about.
Yeah. And then I think like when you get to that point of knowing when it's time to leave, I think it's also important to understand like one of the things that helped you is building a personal brand in order to leave your job. Yeah. So like when did you start creating content?
Yeah. So it's basically been a year, almost a year. November 1st will be the year of me consistently posting on LinkedIn for a full year.
Only 1 year?
1 year. LinkedIn.
On LinkedIn. When did you start posting on
TikTok? Like 3 years ago.
Okay.
And I wasn't consistent with it within the first year, which I really regret. But it's okay. We're bouncing back. I think what's really important for people to know is like, we're not sitting here being like, how'd you know it was time to leave your business or leave your corporate job to start your own business? Because obviously not everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. We want you guys to find comfort in like, it's okay to leave and find something that you're really passionate about, whether it's starting your own business or taking a big risk and taking another job in another industry. Like we said, we're not anti-corporate. We're just telling our story.
I think what's really important too is like when people want to go out on their own, it's really, really challenging to go out on your own if you have no like base. You don't have a following. You don't have like clients on the side.
Yeah, you make a good point, because I feel like so many people like comment not only on my stuff but on your stuff. They're like, oh, it's so much easier for you to do this because you have a following. Yeah, like it is. Like we're not denying that, but we all started from zero. Me and you started from zero. Like we posted probably for a solid 12 months where we still didn't have a following. We were still posting. We're still working on it every day. So
yeah, I mean, you started 3 years ago, so you're building up all that time to get to this point.
Exactly.
So like literally that's like 3 years in the making.
Yeah, and people all the time, they comment and they're like, oh, it's so much easier for you to start your own business because you have a following. Well, it didn't happen overnight. Like I worked my ass off for a 3-year following. And like even still, I'm not as big as so many of these big time influencers that you guys all follow. Like I would love to be that big. Like we both would. Like let's be honest. But it's taken us 3 years to get here, and it's not even our end goal, I
also just want to let you guys know that Sara has a great big following. She was like editing all of her videos on TikTok. Till like recently, like I remember we were out to dinner.
It was when I met you basically in person. We went to dinner.
Yeah, we were out to dinner, and I was like, how are you filming all this stuff? And she shows me she's filming every single video in the TikTok app. Like she would film one little bit,
Vin almost passed out.
Put it back in her pocket, and I'm just like, what the fuck? And she has like so many followers. So I think that's just like, I joke, but it's a good example of like, don't overthink it.
You don't need much.
You don't need much. Like, yes, I'm investing into a lot of these like different cameras and all this stuff, but like to get started, you just like literally can use your phone. Like I think like for the first 2 years of me doing content, I just used my iPhone 10.
Yeah.
For the longest time.
Yeah.
You don't need to overthink it at all.
Yeah. That's another thing. People are like, oh, you have the money to invest in this, 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 and this. Like, guys, I use my phone. That is literally it. But if you want to do it really right and like you have the opportunity to invest in a lot of stuff, this is your guy right here. He has all of the coolest technology. He whips something out and I'm like, what is that? And he's like, it's simple. Just,
the coolest thing until like nothing works and then we have to like, do this and this looks really bad.
Something had to go wrong.
Yeah. So anyway, back to like you building up this, you're basically building up, you're putting in the reps, you're creating content. You're getting to this point where I think like before you quit, we were talking and you're like, I don't think, I'm ready to leave my 9 to 5. And then all of a sudden it happened. So like, what was that switch, that turn that like said, okay, I'm ready to now go out on my own?
Yeah, I think like I said earlier, it's just like waiting for that moment. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but every day I woke up and I was kind of like, that would be really cool. And like, I have a cool business model and I would love to do that, but I love what I do. And I think honestly, like it's hard to explain when that moment just snaps, but that's literally what happened. Like I woke up one morning and I was kind of like, this is it. But actually, now that I think about it, what I actually shared with my husband, which is kind of not anything that I've shared before, like to the public eye, are 3 things that I always said, if these 3 things were to happen, I would leave. And like, that would be my sign. But I also kind of knew like if they didn't happen, like that was okay because I was happy where I was. So the first was all my Pareto friends, if they watch this, they're going to be like, Sara, why didn't you tell me this? But here it is. It's nothing bad. But the first was I was never going to consider leaving Pareto until I got married because I wanted all of my Pareto friends at my wedding. They would have come anyways, but you know, like you don't want the drama. You don't want any of that. You just want to enjoy being together. And they would have 1000% come anyways. I've been to like 8 dinners with them already since I've left, and I'm going to see them next week. But it was just like, I'm going to wait till I get married because it's a big step. And like, I don't want to have to like start a business while I'm planning a wedding. Like, I was just like, let me get past that major life stone. 2 was I really set myself as a goal to get promoted to sales director at Pareto. And like, I always wanted the director title. So I said I would never leave until I was a sales director. And that happened a month after I got married.
Wow.
The third thing was I would never consider leaving unless they had an issue with the content that I put out. And I posted a video in August about not hitting target. And there was a little bit of an issue of a take this down situation. I don't honestly think it was a shame on Pareto. I don't. I think...
Yeah, they're trying to protect their brand.
They're trying to protect their brand, and I get that. And, like, this isn't a, like, screw you, Pareto, like, you know, whatever. But we were also acquired by Randstad, which is, like, a really big corporate company. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard their name before. And it was more so coming from their end. So I back Pareto, like, 100%. Like, they are the reason why I'm here today is like because they allowed me to do so much content while I also shared my journey of working in a corporate job, and not a lot of people get to do that. I think a lot of people reach out to me and Vin and they're like, how are you able to do this? And like, we got very lucky. We worked for companies that allowed us to express ourselves and our journeys in corporate for as long as we were in them. But once Pareto did start to get corporate-y, we were more, you know, under kind of like the Randstad name. That's kind of where one morning Jonathan was like literally sitting here and he heard the conversation of like, you have to take that video down. And he knew that was my third like pillar of like, if this were to happen, I would leave. And he looked at me and I looked at him and I was like, did all 3 of these things just happen in like a span of 2 months? Wow. And he was like, you're out and I'm fully supporting you. Like, you got to freaking do this. And actually, now that we're breaking it down, like that was the moment where I woke up the next day and I was like, I'm out, but I'm at peace. Yeah. And like, I love what I do. But this was my sign. And like, I feel like sometimes you just need a sign. I don't know. Not that I'm like spiritual or anything like that, like to the extreme, but sometimes like things just hit you in the face and you're like, this has to be for a reason. Yeah.
What about like financially? Was there like, I want to hit this before I go out on my own?
I think there always has to be a financial goal because like you want to make sure that you're able to support yourself. But realistically, just being really transparent, like I saved up enough at Pareto where I felt comfortable that if I was on my own, if I wasn't married, I'd be good. And I still like would be good if Jonathan wasn't in the picture. Jonathan is so successful. He's an accountant. He works at EY. Could not be more opposite in our careers. But he's in a place where he was like, listen, like I can back you, God forbid, like for, you know, XYZ, how many, you know, months, years that you need. I feel like I'm in a good place that I can do that. And like, I would regret you not going and risking and taking this opportunity. So very blessed that I had someone that was like really, really supportive in my life that was like, you should go and rock this. Like, go do it. We also aren't in a place to start a family just yet. Like, we feel like we're really young. Like, I'm 27, he's 28. Obviously, that will come down the line, but like, we're not taking care of anyone right now. Like, we don't have a dog, we don't have kids. You know, this was just the right timing. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think people think that you need, even myself included, actually, I thought this. I was like, I need to replace my income in order for me to leave and do my own thing. But like without actually quitting my job, there was no path to do that.
Correct. I agree with that. Like you never know until you actually leave and can put 100% of your effort towards what you're trying to build.
100%. I'm like, in my head, I'm like,
it's a risk. It's an automatic risk.
Totally a risk. I mean, like, especially in a sales role where you can do really well, like especially if you're coming off a really great year, it's really, really, really hard to replace that income.
So let me ask you something. I'm going to flip the script a little bit. Your first month of Creator Buzz and second and third, like your first 3 months, did you make more than what you were at Demand Base?
I still haven't hit that yet.
All right. So working towards it.
Yeah, working towards it. I think like that's the challenging part is like I did pretty well at Demand Base. And so like the income is pretty hard to replace. Also now starting the business, my goal is to like kind of like grow a company. So just because I'm like hitting X amount of revenue or whatever, like I don't necessarily keep all of that.
Well, that's a huge thing as a business owner,
Right.
which I'm now learning too.
learning
It's
as
like
well. I was like, wait, this is all mine? It's
you
like,
need
no.
you needed to put, 30% to taxes. You need to, expense X, Y, and Z because you're investing in all this technology that's going to make you successful. So that's something that I'm learning too. It's like I close a deal and I'm like, yay. And then back to reality. Also, it does help having an accountant as a husband to be like,
That's true.
just kidding. Like, you're not keeping all of this. Like, this is where it's going. So that's huge.
Or you close a deal and like you're just waiting to get paid on it. You just
Yeah.
have to chase them down for
Yeah.
payments.
Yeah.
That's never fun.
No. Maybe we'll flip the script here and talk about a little bit about when you knew too, because like me and you are very similar boats. You're probably about 6 months in front of me. It's been great to have Vin because he did take the leap a little bit before me. So it was nice to be able to be like, hey, is this normal?
Yeah.
Is this right? Like, am I doing the right thing? So it's nice to also surround yourself with people that are, are going to support you, but maybe also people like go find your people that are in similar boats so that you can kind of just like relate, because that really helps from like the mental standpoint.
Oh, yeah.
But like, when did you know?
I was kind of in a similar boat to you. Like I loved my job. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm never gonna leave this job because there's nothing else that's gonna be better than this. Like
Yeah.
they treat me amazing. I do really well here. I love the product. The people are great. Like
Yep.
I was like, the only thing I would leave for is to do my own thing. And I think I like told our CEO that and like my manager. I was very
Yep.
open about it. Like, hey, my end goal is entrepreneurship. I don't know when that is. It could be in 5 years, 10 years, or it could be next year. I don't know exactly when that's going to happen, but that is my goal. So you don't have to worry about me leaving.
Right.
I'm not going to a competitor, none of that stuff. And I had a really, really great year last year. I was like, oh, I can kind of ride this wave again. Like, this is going great. And then for some reason, it just kind of clicked where like, I just unfortunately just didn't want to do the
Right. It's a clicking moment.
a
Like,
click.
it's so
Like,
hard
it's
to like
so
explain
weird.
the feeling, but you just know.
You just know. And like, I was like, I don't want to do anything that's asked of me. That's totally reasonable. Like, they're like, update this forecast, join this meeting. And those small tasks, which are like part of my job,
That's actually so true that
I was
you
like,
say that.
I'm not doing it. Like, I was like, I can't even stomach this meeting right now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this isn't fair to them or my manager or anyone really. Because
Yeah.
I was just like, it was driving me nuts. And then I had this really big deal that was outstanding. And I was like, once I get this deal done, because I was working on it for like 2 years, I'm
Yeah.
like, one, I'll have the money saved up to just make sure I have a little buffer.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was also like, let me try to sign some clients on the side. And I did. I signed like 2 clients, really, really small clients. But I signed 2 clients on the side for
Yep.
this business that I run now, which is an influencer marketing agency. And so that it was all together. It was like, it just clicked for me. I came off a really hot year, so I had some money set aside.
Yep.
And then I signed 2 really, really small clients, but it was just like proof of concept.
Well, yeah, that proves that like you are
Exactly.
adding value to the industry and people need what you're trying to sell them. So
Exactly. Yeah. And once that happened, I was like, I remember I was talking to my fiance and I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to like quit my job. She's like, wait, what? And then I was like, yeah. And then literally I told my manager that same week. Cause
I did too.
I just need to tell him.
Yeah, like I feel like when you make the decision too, it's like it's a done deal.
It's done.
It's like I had so much anxiety. Like my VP went to England the day that, which is like where he's from, and he was going home for I think a wedding or something, and I made up my mind. It just so happened to be that day that he left. So I could not stomach waiting legit 3 days to
Yeah.
tell him. And it like all happened at once. He was like, are you serious? Like, could you just not tell me like when I was there? And I was like, no, I just genuinely couldn't wait.
Did he know when you said like, hey, we need to chat?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
my
got
manager
on. He was
too.
like so red. I was like, you know what I'm going to say? And he was like, just say it.
Yeah.
Just say it. And I was like, I'm going to leave. And he was like, what the hell?
He was
couldn't have
upset.
waited till I was back. I was
he-
like, no.
Was he like, how was the reaction?
I am so lucky. I think it's exactly what happened with you. Like, they knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Like, they were like, the first thing that Kurt, who's my SVP, was like, I'm so proud of you. And like, I'm so blessed that I worked for someone and a company that like, that was their response. Like, they weren't like, what the hell? They were like, we are so proud of you. Like, we're devastated, but like, we're so proud of you. And I feel like you had a similar response from Demand Base.
I did. I was so nervous to tell my manager. So funny enough, I was at Demand Base for 6 years. I started as an SDR. In that role, in the sales role, you get paired with an AE.
Mm-hmm.
My AE was now like my boss today.
Oh, wow.
My future boss.
Okay.
Like 6 years later, he became my boss.
Yeah.
So like we go way back.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of nervous to tell him. And like the first thing he said was like, congratulations. Like, can't wait to hear about the business.
Oh, that's great.
So yeah, obviously he was sad for me to leave, but like he was so supportive. And then I had some people from Demand Base that were like, I'm happy for you, but I'm shocked because you were doing well. So I thought you would want to stay. sort of
Yeah.
thing, which I get, but everyone was so supportive. Like I still talk to them. Like I work out of the office. I'll go there later today.
Yeah, it's great.
It's awesome. I don't think like also another topic maybe, like it's so silly to burn bridges from an employer that you.
Oh, I couldn't agree more.
It's horrible.
When people leave corporate especially, or they're just leaving to go to another business.
Or competitor, that's really bad.
Or a competitor, and you burn bridges on the way out, more likely than not, you probably just closed so many doors to actually doing business in the future with any people that they know. And like the sales world is small. Like me and you know that. Like we go to a lot of networking events. We see some of the same people. Like these are people that you do business with. And if you do wrong by one person, or if, you know, you talk shit about someone that's while you're on the way out, like literally don't do that. It's just the worst fucking mistake that you can make.
No.
You just lost 2, 3, 4, 5 future deals.
Especially if you're there for a while. Like, you know, we were there, I think both 6 years or something like that. Also,
you were 6, I was 5, but yeah.
Also, if you go to a competitor, I just think that's so shitty, personally. Unless your employer like screwed you over, which still you should be the bigger person. But like going to a direct competitor, I don't know. I don't respect that.
I don't have experience going to a competitor. I was at one place since I graduated college, like literally, so were you. So it's hard for me to be like, oh, it's 100% wrong or like it's right. But like I do agree with you. Like it would put a bad taste in my mouth to be like, oh my God, so-and-so went to X company. Like I can't believe that. Like why didn't we know about that? Or like not at least giving not giving the opportunity to your company to like rebound, to be like, how can we keep you?
Yeah. And
then you're still going to a competitor, I think is really shitty too. But it's tough.
I think for the most part, it's like the grass is not always greener.
I say that all the time.
Like you think, oh, my job, like you just hyper fixate on like the things you don't like, and then you go somewhere else, and it might be 10 times worse.
Yeah, we had so many. We called them boomerangs at Pareto. Like honestly, like I would say 30% of people at Pareto left and came right the fuck back.
Yeah,
they were like, oh, I was wrong. Like grass is not always greener. And listen, sometimes it is, but like sometimes you also just for yourself need to go try it out.
Yeah.
And see for yourself, but it's also a huge testament to the company that takes you back. And I think both of us were at companies in corporate that would have done that for us and still would do that for us. Like if you turned around and you were like, damn, Creator Buzz is not what I thought. Like I want to go back to demand-based. Chances are they're probably going to take you back.
I think so.
Yeah. I pray to God, Pareto, if anything happens to me, take me back.
Yeah.
They already know that, and they would. And we wouldn't be able to do that if we burnt bridges on the way out.
No.
So how are we doing right now? I don't know. Are we staying on topic? Is this valuable?
I think we need a little coffee break. What do you think?
Yeah, let's.
We have to do the swirl first.
Third one of the day. Cheers.
I got to catch up to you. You've been building content. You've been working here for 5 years. You quit your job. Like, what do you do? What are you doing right now?
Okay, so I am now the founder, which sounds so bizarre to say that, but very proud to say that I'm the founder of the brand Selling Sara, which basically is sales training, sales consultancy, brand partnerships, and speaking engagements. So the brand partnerships is more so on like that content creation side. And I'm working with a lot of lifestyle brands, and I'm working with a lot of corporate B2B brands now, which I absolutely love because I think finally corporate is catching up to influencer marketing. And I feel like we're watching this happen like before our very eyes on LinkedIn. Like LinkedIn is changing, like I think for like the most exciting, like and better way that it could. I actually just did a training session on this morning with a team where I was telling them like why it's so important to build your personal brand and like how, you know, I'm so blessed and honored to announce like those posts are over.
Yeah.
If you're seeing posts like that on LinkedIn, I just think they're old, like they're not authentic, and LinkedIn is becoming a much more familiar place to be like little less professional, a little bit more personable, but like you're still showing that you're killing it in your business or corporate. Like I think it's so cool. Brand partnership side is more so like content creation, speaking engagements. I'm doing a few SKOs in January, February, which I'm super pumped about.
Where are they at?
A lot of them are in Texas.
In Austin?
Yeah. But then I would say about like 70 to 80% of my business is sales, like coaching for VPs, any team that's like looking to start a sales team and they just don't know how to like target their reps on how to be successful, how to target them activity wise, how many deals they should be closing, meetings they should be booking, you know, all of that good stuff. And then sales training. So I offer 4 workshops that are everywhere from everything cold calling, social selling, structuring your sales week, and then more of like account management, relationship, roadmap type of conversation. So they're small workshops. I always like to sell them as the fact that like when I was a sales rep, I hated being taken off the floor for like an entire morning or an entire afternoon. I kind of was just like so competitive and I wanted to hit my number that I was like, someone just tell me like what to do so I could just put it into action and see if it works. So they're short, they're 60 minutes, they're super tangible, and anything that you learn from that you can take and immediately try in your role like right after the session's done. So that's pretty much my business: sales consultancy, training, brand partnerships, speaking engagements. That is selling Sara, a few webinars as well. So I have my first one that I'm doing on Wednesday, a week from today, actually.
Yeah. How do you kind of strike that balance too? I'm curious because you have like, I'm going to say the B2B side of your business, which is like the team, corporate training.
Yep.
And then you have like your personal brand and then like the webinars that you're running. So
yep.
Like, how do you, because I really struggle with that actually. So this is a selfish question.
Yeah.
And I've told you this, like I'm so focused on the brand, the B2B side, like how do you strike that balance, I guess?
Honestly, I think I'm learning as I go. Like I can't be like, this is what works for me, Vin, like you should give it a go. But I think just like allocating and staying really organized every day, knowing what I'm going to prioritize, like definitely helps. Like I talk about this on TikTok all the time, but like time blocking and like sticking to that one thing that I'm doing in that time block instead of doing a little bit of everything at once and not giving 100% towards one thing. You know, for me, I think I'm realizing I can't take on as many clients as I thought for training in a month because I can't train every single team in America and be really effective and also do, you know, brand partnerships and content and all that good stuff. So understanding, I think over the next few months, like how many clients I feel comfortable taking on at once. I also do one-on-one coaching for VPs and, you know, directors and even just, you know, reps that want to get better, and only taking on a certain amount per month there as well because I want to be able to give a really tailored approach to each person. And then also having just a really great supportive, you know, team. I told you I have a niche who helps me on, you know, corporate B2B brands. I work with Viral Nation that helps me on lifestyle. And then Sara, who's my, you know, personal assistant, who I love so much, must be the name.
Sara Jr.
Sara Jr. She is Junior. She's a year younger than me. So shout out Sara. It's really good to just have like a really great support system helping you when you're also trying to build a business. Like, you know, every day is building, like every day is learning. So I think I'm still trying to figure that out because I think that's actually the hardest thing is like balancing your routine. And like now you're not in corporate. So it's like, can I sleep in? Can I shut the laptop? Can I go to the gym? It's like, when do I do that? But I'm honestly realizing that I'm working 10 times more, which I'm sure you probably are too.
Well, I'm curious, what does your week actually look like? Like if you run me through like Monday through Friday, what does that look like?
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of hard to say because like I'm still trying to figure that out, like of how I really want to structure my sales week. But right now, the way I have it is like mostly new business meetings, which I think is pretty much like our nature. Like if I don't have a new business meeting in my calendar, I start freaking out and I start prospecting because I'm like, oh my God, I'm like not gonna have clients. But obviously we try to pack our weeks like that. But basically like Mondays and Fridays, I try to keep like more open so that I could ease into the week, more admin, like responding to emails, doing content. I will take like 1 or 2 new business meetings on Mondays, but I'm trying to pack my new business meetings in Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. I don't know why that is. Like that's just like kind of what I've told myself I would do. But like yesterday I had 7 new business meetings and I was like absolutely exhausted at the end of the day. And then I was doing follow-ups and proposals, which is great because those are all potential deals that I can close. But I think I'm starting to realize that might be too much on one day. So like, I think I'm still trying to figure out. You gave me some of the best advice, which was like still treat your day as a 9 to 5.
Yep.
Like you gave me that advice. Where'd you get that advice?
Yeah, my dad, like when I told my dad I was quitting my job, also family was super supportive. And my dad was like, yeah, the biggest piece of advice when you quit is like treat it like a 9 to 5. Like wake up like you normally would, sit at your desk from 9 to 5.
I called Vin and I was like, Vin, like, do I wake up late? Can I go to the gym? He's like, treat it like a 9 to 5. I was like, oh, that makes sense.
It's like a 9 to 5, but you also have flexibility to like, you know, we're going to be at this event on Friday in Brooklyn. Yep. Like you kind of have that flexibility, but you're still treating it like you are working a 9 to 5 schedule-wise.
100%. So yeah, I think I'm still trying to figure out like the actual routine of like how I'm going to structure my week. Cause also now I'm training teams. So like before you got here, I told you I was training a team this morning. So I think it's just sticking to time blocks, which it's like what I mentioned earlier. Like if it is in my calendar, which I have to put it in my calendar, but if it is in my calendar, I'm doing it. And that's the best way that I stay organized, stay structured. I make sure everything gets done by time blocking my calendar. If you are not utilizing your calendar, you're doing it wrong, in my opinion.
Oh, it's a cheat code. I think one of the things too is like dedicating either times or like certain days for things. So like every Tuesday for me is like my content days.
Yeah.
And I know that I need to do content.
I even know Tuesdays are your content day. I've known that forever.
And we're here shooting content on Wednesday. That's the ability to be flexible.
That's true.
So I think like, yeah, following really strict to that. And then like if there's stuff that pop up, like I have the option to like move my calendar around.
Exactly. That is the beauty of kind of being a business owner, is like if things come up and, you know, there is something that you feel like, well, you'll really get value out of if you go to that and move this, like the opportunity to do that. And like, you probably couldn't do that in corporate because you have your manager being like, what do you mean you want to go to this event?
Yeah.
Like, you know, but
they have to justify it.
Exactly. So the fact that we've been able to kind of build, you know, two companies that were able to have the best of both worlds is awesome. And anyone can do it.
Yep.
But I guess this kind of like leads us to our final points of like, what do you want our viewers to take away from this episode?
If your end goal is to go out on your own, whether it's entrepreneurship, full-time creator, whatever it is, like you have to put in the reps prior to just like quitting your job. Like
I agree.
I don't recommend just quitting your job and figuring it out. Like that's just personally, I don't think that's a good strategy. I think you have to put in the reps. You were posting for 3 years. I was kind of on a similar path, creating content for so long, putting in the reps. And also try to get like proof of concept out. Like if you want a training business, try to get some clients to train on the side. Yep. And if it works out, you can kind of test it. You can judge the appetite if there's like a need for it. Mm-hmm. And then you get enough courage where you'll feel the time is right and you can take the jump.
Yeah. Don't quit cold turkey.
Do not do that. I don't recommend that.
No. And a lot of people, I feel like social media is tough and people are tough on the internet. And I think me and Vin a lot get people that are like, you quit and like you have this huge following and like it's so much easier to start a business when you have a following. Like this wasn't an overnight sensation. Wish it was, but it took us a long time to get here. So start putting the reps now.
Absolutely. All right. I think that's a good end to the pod. How do you think it went so far? What do you think?
I think it went well, but I want to hear from you guys. Like, I feel like me and Vin are really open, transparent people. And like, we're happy to talk about a lot of different topics when it comes to like corporate, lifestyle, relationships, working relationships. I just got married. Vin's getting married next year. Like, you know, we want to talk about so many other things so that you guys get to know us as well. But also we want to talk about topics that would also help you guys do something similar, or also just kind of like chase your dreams. I know that sounds like corny, but like whether it's a dream job in corporate or it's starting your own business or it's just taking a really big risk for, you know, an opportunity that, you know, you're really motivated by, like we want to talk about it and get you through it. And I think that's the point of it because we kind of wish we had this guidance, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I wish someone had this, like the conversations that we're having.
Yeah.
Also, we have no idea what we're doing in terms of podcasts. Like, at all. So
clearly, we're sitting in my living room.
We're in Sarah's living room. We took like 40 minutes probably to get the mics to work prior, and like clearly like this not going on. The battery died on this camera like probably 3/4 of the way through the podcast.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys don't notice that.
We made it work.
We're making it work, and so this is a learning process for us. We just bought and told Sarah to order some lights, and
we did.
We're trying to make the best of it. So I think each episode you might notice. Hopefully we'll get better with each episode. This is episode number 1. Don't know when it'll air. Don't know when the next one will be.
We have no fucking clue.
I don't even know if we're going to continue this. Who knows?
I don't even know if any of you will see this.
I had a good time, though. I think the content we'll be able to deliver it'll be valuable.
Yeah,
I think.
I agree. But welcome to the corporate club. What is it called? What did we call this? The Career Collective.
That's right.
Welcome to the Career Collective. We'll see you guys soon.